What's going on, everybody? It's Josh Morris with the Everything Paranormal Show. And tonight we're going to be doing a few things a little differently tonight. This is the sort of the last show, the live show. We do this every Thursday at 9 o'clock. And this is the last live show before Halloween. So there's a couple things that we're looking at doing. One is we are going to be actually opening up a communication session, and not just a spirit box session. This has been very common. We actually are going to be doing a dowsing rod session. So for those of you that are not familiar with dowsing rods, that's what these are. Okay. These are copper and they have independent sleeves. You can see how you don't actually grip the rod. You grip the sleeve because the rods move independently. And we're going to be actually opening up a communication session with spirits, with the afterworld. I guess we're going to try to ask some questions and see what knowledge we may receive from the other side. I know this sounds bad, but we want to see what kind of knowledge that maybe they have some insight on Brian Laundrie. There's a ton of questions regarding this case, the Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie case. If you're not familiar with that case, pause the video, go check it out, and then come back. Most people know what's going on with that case. It's a huge case. Here is a picture from the traffic stop. One of the last times that Gabby Petito was seen on film alive. Again, this is from a police cam. She's upset here. They had gotten into a domestic, dispute. Brian Laundrie, of course, the one on the right, who allegedly ends up killing her. Again, we have to use these terms just because we're publicly speaking. But personal opinion, I think he probably did it. I mean, she was found dead about a month later. There's all these circumstances. Most people know these circumstances. So bottom line, recently there was remains found in the case. There was remains found believed to be Brian. There was a partial identification from, I guess, a partial dental ID. So very, very weird. I guess they were still working on trying to extract DNA from the little bit of remains that they did find. So with that being said, we really don't know if Brian Laundrie is actually deceased, if he took his own life. There's a lot of answers. There was a notebook found. There was nothing supposedly in the notebook that gives any closure. Again, I'm not sure if we fully know these things yet, but there's a lot of questions. So we're going to reach out. Behind me over here, I've got a K2 meter. This is going to be lit up while I'm doing the session. That way, if anything decides to trigger that EMF meter, again, you can see that as well. So I'll show some of you guys. Now you can see the green screen kind of is taking out some of the colors, but you can see if these lights light up, you'll be able to see if it goes all the way red. That's very, very high. I don't know if I can trigger anything with, I don't even know if my mouse will trigger it. I don't know. But sometimes you can trigger it and you'll see it light up. Okay. Again, this detects EMF, which does not necessarily mean ghost. Don't always automatically say that EMF is ghost meter. It's not. It's just EMF, and it is a way for ghosts or spirits to potentially interact with us as well. So it's not necessarily just a ghost meter. So anyways, we can get more into that if you guys have questions. Again, there is a live chat. If you're watching this live and you have questions, you have concerns, maybe you want to interact, maybe you want to ask a question, you want me to ask the spirits a question, we're going to do that. Okay. We're going to get in that here just in a little bit. So bear with me. I know if you're watching this on replay, we will get to the session here real quick. Just want to take a time to wish everybody a happy Halloween, a safe Halloween. And let's see. Hello, I'm on the air. Okay. All right. I love you. Losing viewers. Just kidding. All right. So, yeah, folks, that was my wife. And so if you're watching it, yes, we're that laid back. But in all honesty, I was going to have a co-host with me today, Stacy Talich. Very good, very intellectual guy. If you guys have ever watched him in the past, really good. He was going to come on the show and be with us tonight. Unfortunately, he's broke down. So, and I'm still like 99% healthy. I've still got like 1%. I'm trying to clear up. So bear with me if I cough or anything. But all right, folks. But we are going to do an actual communication session here real soon. So bear with me because this should be interesting. I'm just letting a few more people file in here. Hopefully, click that like. I see Tara popped in the chat. It's good to see you, Tara, in the chat. I know my wife is watching. She just hasn't said anything yet, of course, and she called me to let me know about Stacy. He's broke down on the side of the road, apparently. So in any case, folks, we're gonna wing it. Well, I'm used to hosting the show mostly by myself, anyways, so we'll be okay. We got this session to do. So I'm really excited to get into this session. Remember, folks, I've been doing this a long time. Don't try this at home if you're not used to opening sessions, closing sessions. And it's mostly intent. It's mostly simple. It's not like you have to say these chants or rituals and things. Am I communicating to the spirits for answers? Is it a bad thing? That's debatable. I don't normally do this to reach out to spirits to ask them these type of questions, but I feel like let me just kind of clear up a little bit of controversy real quick. So, Stacy's not broke down. His internet is. Sorry. All right, but let me clear up the controversy real quick. Here's the way I look at it. First of all, this video is not monetized, but second of all, Dog the Bounty Hunter, his profession is chasing down criminals. He was out there. He had a team of people. He has the resources. He's using what he knows best to try to help this case. And he's now waiting on confirmation whether these remains are actually indeed Brian Laundrie's. If not, he's already been on record on Popcorn Planet that he will go back to the hunt if that's the case. Okay, if it's not Brian Laundrie, if it's not his remains, he will go back on the hunt. So the point is, I'm a paranormal investigator. Okay, so what can I do to help this case? Well, I'm going to use my tools. I'm going to use my abilities, which is to open up a communication session with the spirits and see what they say. Now, remember, folks, take these answers that we may come across. We may not even be able to reach a spirit. I don't even know yet. But if we do make contact with a spirit, keep in mind, we don't know if we're going to get answers. We don't know what they're going to say. We have no idea. So just keep that in mind. And whatever they do say, again, take it with a grain of salt because, again, they could say that he's alive. They could say that he's dead. They could say a lot of things, okay? But it doesn't always mean that they're telling the truth. I know that's kind of counterintuitive, but take it for what you will. And if you're a psychic, if you have feelings and you're following along, then maybe you'll pick up on some things as well during this session. So, but I say we go ahead. Let's get into the session because we're already 10 minutes into this video. So, all right, let me get kind of set up. So what I'm going to do is let me get the microphone. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully it's not making a bunch of racket. Let me get the K2 meter turned on. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't fall over. I've tried to get it propped. It doesn't like to stand up too well. So, all right. So we got that. I'm going to get the spirit rods. Now, the spirit rods, the dowsing rods, what I'm going to do is, here we go. I'm trying to get them to where you guys can kind of see. I'm going to try to keep them held up. Maybe I should go up with the microphone. Yeah, maybe we should do like a up. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to hold the rods in one position. So I'm going to kind of tuck in, and this is kind of advice for people doing dowsing rods, period, is you want to kind of just tuck in your arms and just try to maintain the same position. All right. That way the dowsing rods do the work, not you. Remember, I'm holding if you can see, I'm holding them by the sleeve. Okay. So see how they kind of spin around when I just barely move? So right now, all I'm trying to do is just aim them a little down and have them straight forward. That way, again, they're not wildly going all over. Okay. This is where you want to get your energy right. Okay. For those of you like into like chi and all that stuff, you want to get your energy right. I'm going to open up a communication out there to the spirits. I would like any spirits to come forward and talk to me. Positive spirits, no negative spirits. I would like any positive spirits to come forward and talk to us through these dowsing rods. Okay? And I would like you to talk to us specifically about Brian Laundrie, the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case that's going on. Brian Laundrie is the individual we all have questions about down in Northport, Florida. This is the specific individual I'm talking about. So you know who I'm talking about. We're not talking about any other Brian Laundrie in the world. So with that being said, is there a spirit here that would like to communicate about Brian Laundrie to us? Please cross the rods for yes, leave them apart, or push them apart for no. Okay, so you are a spirit here that would like to talk to you about Brian Laundrie. Thank you for that. You can uncross the rods. There you go. Return the center. Okay. Now, the first big question everybody wants to know before we get to that question, let me confirm with you. Do you have information about Brian Laundrie? Cross the rods for yes, leave them apart for no, or push them apart. Okay, you guys see that? All right. Straighten them. Thank you for that. Thank you for letting us know. Straighten the rods out, please. Okay. Now there's also a device back behind me. Okay. This device is powered on. It's a meter. Oh, where are you going? It's a meter that will allow you, if you walk up to it, you can touch it. You can make it. You can make the lights blink. If you'd like to answer questions or touch it during this time, feel free to do that as well. Okay. Do you understand that? Can you cross the rods for yes again for us? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It never gets old. Thank you so much. Can you uncross the rods for us? Straighten it out, please. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. So let's just start out with the big question right off the bat. Is Brian Laundrie alive? Cross the rods for yes, or leave the rods apart for no, or you can even push the rods apart. Is Brian Laundrie dead? Cross the rods for yes, leave apart for no, or you can push them apart for no as well. Thank you for that. And I don't know why I'm staring at my microphone every time I ask a question. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just staring at my microphone because I know I got to talk to it. So thank you for that. There you go. You can uncross the rods. All right. So, are the remains that were found in the reserve, are those Brian Laundrie's remains? Cross the rods for yes, push apart for no, or leave them apart for no. Interesting. So far, you're saying that he's deceased, but that's not his remains? Is his body located in the Carlton Reserve? Cross the rods for yes, push apart for no. Wow, I would say they pushed him apart for a big old no. You can feel, wow. So apparently, Brian Laundrie, they're saying he's deceased and not in the reserve so far. Okay, you can straighten the rods now, please. Straighten the rods out, please, for confirmation. Straighten the rods out. Bring them back to center, please. Bring them back to center. Thank you for that. Okay. Are his remains, is his body in Florida? Is his deceased body in Florida? Cross the rods for yes, push apart for no. Man, they're pushing them apart. Wow. And now, guys, if you see the meter go off, let me know because I can't pay attention to the meter. It's behind me. It's over my shoulder here. So I really can't. I'm not really looking at the monitor too much. So, guys, if you see any lights or anything, let me know. All right. So cross the rods for straighten the rods, please. Bring them back to center. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Is his deceased body, is it in the southeast part of the United States? Cross the rods for yes, push apart for no. Okay, so they're saying that, so you're saying his body is in the southeast. All right, thank you for that. So it says we can't see the meter, camera is too high. Okay, are you talking about, okay, the camera's too high. Is that, ask why the potatoes lied about the funeral. They said she was cremated, then had to admit that the place still had the bodies. Okay. Well, we're not getting into the Petitas just yet, but maybe we can ask about that. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to be open for all questions. All right, I do. So we will get to that. Right now, we're going to still try to focus on this body. I don't know how long the spirit's going to talk to us. Okay, sorry about that, spirit. Yeah, the K2 meter. I don't know. I would have to break the session, honey. I'm afraid to, I don't know. I can see it on the monitor. I thought maybe you guys could see it. But all right. Where are we at? Okay, so guys, let me focus. It's tough here. Okay. Would the body be located in the Appalachian Trail? Like in the Appalachian Mountains at all? Please cross the rods for yes or push apart for no. All right. Well, they're saying yes. Okay, thank you for that. Straighten the rods out, please. Straighten the rods out, please. All right. Straighten the rods out. Please return the rods to center, please. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. So Is the spirit I'm talking to, do you know Brian Laundrie? Cross the rods for yes and leave a part for no. Oh, okay. So the spirit I'm talking to, so you know Brian Laundrie. Straighten the rods. Please return the rods to center. Oh wow, that was a lot of power there. I'm going to ask this. Am I speaking with Gabby Petito? Cross the rods for yes. Push the rods apart for no. Okay, the rods went apart. So we're not speaking with Gabby. So okay, thank you for that. Return the rods to center. Return the rods to center. Please straighten the rods. Thank you very much. You have a lot of power. You have a lot of energy. I can tell. Okay. Are you a relative of Brian Laundrie's? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no. Okay. So it looks like they're saying yes. So you are a relative. All right. Please return the rods to center. Thank you for communicating. I really appreciate this. You've been one of the only relatives of Brian's to speak out. Thank you for this. And I'm not trying to be a big joke. Okay. But thank you so much for communicating. Let's see. Let's keep going. Let's try to find out. So we're saying that that he is deceased, but his body is in the Appalachian Trail somewhere. Is that correct? Can you confirm that again? Can you cross the rods for yes? That is okay. So yes, they are saying that's what they're saying. Okay, straighten the rods up, please. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can try to get specific state. Is it in Tennessee? Is his body in Tennessee? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no, or leave them apart. Okay, they're pushing them apart so that whatever spirit, whatever relative this is pretty strong. I don't normally get a lot of spirits to push apart the rods every time. Okay, thank you. Straighten the rods, please. Straighten the rods. Okay, I'm just going to ask this because I know people may want to know this. Are you Brian Laundrie? Am I speaking to Brian Laundrie? Cross the rods for yes. Push them apart for no. Okay, so they are pushing them apart. So when you said you were a relative, you really meant like a relative, not it wasn't just Brian. Okay, so all right, straighten the rods. Thank you. But return the rods to center. Please like and subscribe. This is an awesome channel. Oh, thank you. I see you see me. And Kirk's, you're right. There is something not right with this case. Every single witness just happens to have a platform on the social media site, right? I mean, and that's always tough too. But yes. Okay, so we're speaking. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm gonna break the session just for a second. Bear with me. Let me center my energy. And then as far as the meter, I don't know. Can you guys see this? Is it better now? Can you see it now? I mean, I thought. All right. Can you guys see the meter right here? Okay. All right. Trying to get these rods up to where you guys can see them. I'm trying to hold them still. Okay. Am I still communicating with Brian Laundrie's relative? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no. All right. Sorry, guys. That was me. I'm sorry. Get refocused. Okay, I would like to continue speaking with Brian Laundrie's relative that we were speaking with earlier. Can you please talk with us? Can you cross the rods and let us know you're here? Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, thank you. Please straighten them back up, please. Thank you. Okay. Let's move on. Is his body located in North Carolina? Cross the rods for yes. Okay. How about South Carolina? Is his body in South Carolina? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no, or leave them apart. All right. And I know the Appalachians extend to Alabama. Is his body in Alabama? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no. Ask about Brian Laundrie passed in the last 4 weeks or in the past year. Did Brian Laundrie pass away in the last 4 weeks? Okay, let me ask this. Did Brian Laundrie pass away after the 13th of September? Cross the rods for yes and leave apart for no. Okay. Oh, there we go. We're getting across. So, yes, he did pass away after the 13th. Straighten the rods, please. Please return the rods to center. Thank you for that. And you guys can hear me good, right? So, yes. So he did pass away after September 13th. Okay, did Brian Laundrie take his own life? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no. All right. So we got across. So apparently we're having a hard time getting a state. All right, uncross the rods. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Can you give me a state? Are you willing to tell me what state his body is in? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no. Okay, guys, they're pushing apart, so they're not willing to tell us what state, other than that they're saying that his body is in another state. It's not in Florida, that it's in the southeast, off the Appalachian Trail, and he did take his own life. So it sounds kind of like what we have going on right now, other than it's just the wrong remains. It's the wrong location. It sounds like he made it to the Appalachian Trail and took his own life. That's what I'm getting so far. Again, like I said, take everything on the ground. Thank you for communicating with us, folks. Brian's relative. Oh, you can straighten the rods. You can put them back to center, please. Put the rods back to center, please. All right, while you're doing that, I'm just trying to read. If I missed any questions, guys, I apologize. I know that you were talking about Kirk. You were talking about the Petito family and about why they lied. I don't know if I'm going to be able to ask that in a certain way, especially with Brian's relative. Were his teeth planted by? Okay. Were the remains in Florida? Were they planted by someone? Cross the rods for yes. Push the rods apart for no. All right, we don't seem to be getting anything on that, guys. So that's probably a no. Were those remains someone else's randomly? Was it just a random set of remains? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart the rods for no. All right, guys. Looks like we're getting a cross. So they're saying it's random remains. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you. Straighten the rods for yet. Or I'm sorry. Please uncross the rods. Straighten the rods out. Please return the rods back to center. Thank you so much for communicating with us. Thank you so much. Did the parents know Brian left the state? Cross the rods for yes. Leave apart for no. Okay, so the spirits are saying the parents knew he left the state. Straighten the rods out, please. Straighten the rods. Thank you so much. Indian burial grounds around there. Was he ever in the Carlton Reserve? Let's see, how can we phrase it? Because we know that Brian was in there before. Did Brian Laundrie go to the reserve? Let's see, how can we say this? Because we know he's been in the reserve before, so it's kind of, if we ask that question, they're going to say yes, I'm sure. Trying to think of how you can word your question, Kurtz. Was he ever in Carlton? I know what you're trying to say. I don't know how we're going to word it to the spirits. Did Brian Laundrie, when he went on the run, when he started to flee from the law, did he stay in the reserve at all? Cross the rods for yes, uncross the rods for no. Okay. So apparently not. Apparently he didn't stay there at all. He could have started there. Okay. Did Brian Laundrie start his flee from the reserve? Cross the rods for yes, push apart for no. Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess he didn't even start his flee from the reserve. That's according to this. Please return the rods to center, please. Please return the rods to center. Return the rods to center, please. Okay, hold on. Let me adjust. Oh. Ooh. You get a lot of energy that pulses through you, folks. So I had to reset. Okay. Hold on. Let's let the rods settle. See how they just move and you just kind of have to drop them down a little bit? Okay. So here we go. Okay, so let me keep speaking with Brian Laundrie's relative, please. Can you confirm that I am still speaking to Brian Laundrie's relative? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no. Okay, thank you for that. You can uncross the rods. Straighten the rods, please. Okay, thank you. Did he start his run at the DeSoto campsite when he had his family there? Did he start his run there? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no. All right, they're pushing him apart. So the spirits are saying that he didn't start his run at the reserve or the DeSoto campground. So all of that could have just been meetings or family meetings or whatever. All right, thank you for the information. Straighten the rods, please. Straighten the rods. Are you a male? Cross the rods for yes, push apart for no, or leave them there. All right, Terry Lynn, she wants me to try to contact Gabby. We'll try that. We will after we're done talking with Brian's relative. Are you a female? Cross the rods for yes. All right. All right. So you are a female. All right. So it's a female. So thank you for that, Mrs. Laundrie relative. You can straighten out the rods, please. Wow. There you go. Thank you. Sometimes you just get that really good burst of energy, don't you? Um, oh, she's answering me. She said yes. All right. Thank you. Return the rods to center, please. Thank you. Okay. Um, let's see. ICU says, I still wonder though, did Brian do it or did he see somebody else and run? Okay. Okay. Let me adjust my arms a little bit. Sorry about that, folks. I'm gonna let the rod settle. It gets tough. I'm telling you, all this energy. Okay. Did Brian kill Gabby? Cross the rods for yes. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, there wasn't even a hesitation, guys. Thank you for letting me know that. Please return the rods. Return the rods to center. Thank you for that. Are you in this room with me, by the way? Are you in the room with me right now? Did you come here in the room? Cross the rods for yes. Ooh. Thank you for that. Okay, you can straighten the rods, please. Straighten the rods. Can you use both the rods? Use both the rods, and can you point to where you're located in the room? They always like to stand over there. That's like the open part of my room. Thank you for that. That's kind of creepy, but thank you. I appreciate that. Um, there you go. Return the rods to center, please. There you go. Return the rod. Bring it back to center, please. Okay. Kind of strange. So many bodies in one area and the missing 5-year-old Summer. Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a swamp, and swampland, things like that, I mean, you're going to have Indian burial ground bones. You're going to have missing people. You're going to have those type of things, I'm sure. Okay. We've gotten a lot of answers from this individual. I feel like we did really good. Thank you for communicating. Um, Chat, is there any more questions you want me to ask? Is there any more questions you want me to ask Brian Laundrie's relative? Oh, yeah. Well, she said yes. So she said, I asked you guys, and she said yes, that apparently you guys do have more questions to ask her. So thank you for that. See, sometimes I ask questions and I'm holding the rods and I forget, and then the spirit answers me. So it's kind of okay. I mean, where they found Gabby, Summer Wells, is she alive? Do you know if Summer Wells is she alive? Cross the rods for yes. Push apart for no. Or leave apart. All right. Okay. Do you happen to know, is Gabby Petito able to communicate? Cross the rods for yes, push apart the rods for no. Okay. So apparently she's not able to communicate. But we'll still try to reach out, honey. We'll still try to reach out. All right, thank you. Thank you for talking with us. Can you please straighten the rods, please? Straighten the rods. Return the rods to center. Now, have you guys seen any of the K2 meter going off? I haven't been able to look. All right, return the rods to center. Thank you so much for that. Okay. For those of you just joining us, or if you're flipping through the video, we've had a lot of good answers and responses. Please go back and take a look. Watch the video. Right? And that could be the case, honey. Terry Lynn in the chat is my wife, by the way, guys. Not getting a good feeling when you asked. Right. So, okay. So to Brian Laundrie's relative, thank you so much for coming forward and talking with us. We're going to end communication with you. Again, thank you so much. Please go back to where you were. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to clear the energy here. All right. All right, folks. So there you go. We just talked, supposedly, allegedly, to a relative, a female relative of Brian Laundrie's, who, just to recap, says that Brian Laundrie is dead, but those aren't his remains, and that his body is in the southeast part of the United States, somewhere off the Appalachian Trail, and that he did kill himself, and that he also did kill Gabby. Those are kind of the main kind of confirmation questions that we got. They also said he didn't start his run from the law, from the reserve, or from the camp, that DeSoto camp, where a lot of people thought that him and his family went, and then he maybe took off with a kayak or something, went to one of the islands. That's where Dog the Bounty Hunter was looking for him. So I'm not sure. He may have just went and just started his run, period. And then we never asked if the Mustang was a red herring, if it was a diversion tactic. But let's see. Several people said they felt he was in Appalachians and never went to Carlton. I mean, again, this is possible. Again, we don't know. And that's why I said take this session with a grain of salt, because, again, we were talking to his relative. And given the Laundrie's family, his parents seem to be about kind of diversion or red herrings. So who knows? Maybe this spirit we talked to is trying to get us to change focus. We don't know. So keep that in mind, that, there is that kind of family that it could be that this spirit is also trying to redirect us and focus us somewhere else. So keep that in mind. But if they do end up finding his remains off the Appalachian Trail, wouldn't that be crazy? Wow, that would blow my mind. So if he didn't start his run in the Carlton, then how can that be his backpack and notebook? Again, Kurt, I don't know. We didn't ask if the parents planted that information. Again, they may not have planted the remains, but they may have planted that backpack and whatever. They may have planted that when they went out with the whole Mustang thing and they went to go retrieve the Mustang. They may have put his stuff. He might have left his stuff left a backpack or whatever in the Mustang. Who knows? I mean, again, I'm just going by what the spirits tell us tonight. I'm not trying to say that it's law, that it's the truth. just these are things that, again, these are possible insights. Again, take it everything with a grain of salt, right? You know what I mean? We are gonna try to reach out to Gabby here in a second. I'm just kind of regathering my strength, my energy. But yeah, I mean, if his backpack and notebook, if they weren't planted, maybe the spirit was. Sometimes spirits can be very literal. Maybe he didn't start his run there. He may have went there with the Mustang. He may have left his stuff there. He may have went somewhere else and then decided to run from the law. So there may be a technicality that the spirits aren't saying. That's always possible. It's just an observation, not a critique of it. No, I understand. I know. I mean, and I just want to explain some of that because sometimes when people watch spirit sessions or things like that, maybe they get a little confused as to why the spirits say certain things. Again, sometimes spirits lie. Some spirits, and especially if it's a relative of Brian, I will admit when I asked if it was Gabby Petito talking to us, I was kind of nervous. I was like, oh, and in a way, I was like, is it going to cross? Is it not? I mean, I was kind of nervous. And then even when I started thinking, wait a minute, what if this was Brian Laundrie talking to us? What if he is deceased, like they say, and he is talking to us? Like that was kind of, one of those things too. But it makes sense if it's a relative of Brian Laundrie's and they're trying to help. That could be the case. So Kirk says, I'm psychic. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I don't know what you were picking up on during that session. If you felt the session was, if you felt that spirit may have been lying, or who knows. I understand the spirits and the ones with dirty mouths. Right? Okay. So let's go ahead. Also, let's try to reach out to Gabby Petito. Let's see if she can respond or is willing to respond. We did break the communication session with Brian Laundrie's relative, so hopefully they shouldn't interfere. We did command them to go back. So here we go. All right. Yeah, clear this energy again. I'd like to open up a communication session, and I'm trying to reach Gabby Petito. The Gabby Petito that was involved with Brian Laundrie, the Gabby Petito that was murdered. We would like to reach out and communicate with you. I am joined here by my friends in the on the internet in chat. I know, Gabby, you're very familiar with social media and chat, and people are here to find answers. So we'd like to reach out to you in the spirit world. We'd love for you to come forward and talk to us. We would be honored if you could reach out and talk to us through this dowsing rods. Gabby, are you here? Could you please cross the rods for yes, or leave them apart if you're not here? Gabby Petito, we are humble. We are asking you to come forward. We just want to hear your story. Please communicate with us. We ask you. Could you please come forward and talk with us? Come forward and cross these rods. Let us know you're here. Gabby Petito, please come forward. Guys, we may have a spirit blocker here. If you're a spirit and you're trying to block Gabby Petito from talking with us, please go back to where you're from. Do not block her. She has a right to communicate with us if she chooses to. Please let her come forward. Gabby Petito, please come forward and move these rods. Please cross these rods. Let us know if you are here. Gabby, can you please come forward and cross the rods? Let us know you're here. Can you please come and communicate with us? Brian Laundrie's relative, are you still here? Can you please cross the rods and let us know if you're here or not? Is there another spirit here besides the one I was talking with earlier? Is there another spirit here that knows about the Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito case? Could you please cross the rods and let me know that you're here? All right. Is there a spirit that would like to come forward, a positive spirit? Again, as we said, positive spirit. Is there a positive spirit that would like to come forward and communicate with us? Please cross the rods for yes. Let us know that you're here and would like to talk. All right. Well, all right, guys. Remember, any spirits that came forward, remember, we are closing down the session. You are no longer welcome to communicate with us right now. We may open the communication up again soon, but for now, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to cause any harm in this household. You're not allowed to be here in our home anymore. You are not welcome here. Please leave. Thank you for the communication from earlier. Thank you. Okay, so it's really important, guys, that anytime you guys do a session, make sure you close it out, and you can see a real world example of how I open and close sessions, just talking to the spirits and then letting them know the rules when you're done. That does help. Believe it or not, it really does help. My wife and I, when we have spirits that come forward or want to talk with us, again, and we don't sit around just talking to spirits. I mean, normally we don't. But when we do end up talking to them, again, usually it's not to gain information. In this case, we are trying to gain some information about this case. For those of you that just joined us, please go back and watch the beginning when this is done. I think it's good to at least try to see what the spirits are going to say. It's definitely curious what they're going to say. We were definitely able to get supposedly Brian Laundrie's relative to come forward and to communicate with us. We tried to really get Gabby to communicate. Again, I don't know. We don't know what's really going on in the afterworld. We don't know that. She may be in a position where she can't communicate. She may be communicating somewhere else, or who knows what the situation is. But I mean, I was kind of hoping to at least hear. Excuse me. I was at least wanting to hear maybe her side of the story. I was hoping she could at least tell us some things. That would have been really nice to hear, and maybe we'll try again in the future for sure. Um, those of you that tuned in, I appreciate you guys watching this. I really do hope you enjoyed this. Um, and if you're new to this channel, please stick around. Come back. We do live shows every Thursday, and we do other things that we would love to get, you know, more participation in. Again, we get people in the chat that participates. As you guys seen, Kirk71, thank you so much for participating and asking questions. My wife, obviously, she and I see. Well, hello, happy Halloween. I love your costume. Very simplistic. I love the sheet. Would you like some candy? Hello? Hello? Okay. Just gonna go back in. Hey everyone, Josh Morris here with Pair Explorers. I really hope you enjoyed that short film. And from me and my family, we really want to wish you a very sincere happy Halloween. Also, please go to Paraflix. You got to check out the latest Halloween stuff that we're doing called HallowFlix. So check it out. And don't forget, I've got links down below. All right. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. By the way, the hashtag HallowFlix, I did screw up on that, and there's no W. It's just HALLO Flix, FLIXX. So it's hashtag HallowFlix with no W. I don't know. I just caught that. I was like, oh my God, I forgot. I screwed that up earlier on something else, and then I forgot to change it on the video. So, but in any case, hopefully, and you guys can hear me now, right? Because I had a little bit of audio difficulties here. I guess I bumped the mic. Probably when I messed with the microphone when I moved it back in position. Terry Lynn said that Spirit's probably messing with me. You know, who knows? Again, we did command it to leave and everything. So, you know, we usually are pretty good with handling most spirits that come into our home and whatnot. But I hope you guys really did enjoy that short film. So what do you guys think? I mean, do you think the spirits could have gave us some decent information? You think it could have been false? You're just going to wait and see. What are your guys' thoughts? And if you're not watching this live, just leave me your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your guys' take on everything and what you think about this case. Again, I just wanted to say a few things on the case itself. Is that it's definitely been a very odd case compared to even some of the normal stuff we've seen. I think the last time we've seen anything similar to this in the media was the Chris Watts and Shanann Watts case. I think that was the last time we had seen something that really intrigued us, that kind of unfolded before our eyes. But that went fairly quickly. Obviously, Chris Watts didn't go into hiding. This case took a real weird, different turn. I mean, there's a lot of mystery in this, and the way that the lawyer acts sometimes, the way that the parents have clammed up. Now, I do think that there was the advice given, obviously, by the lawyer saying, hey, no matter what, don't say anything, do not speak to anybody, and they really took that literal. But I think for those of you that, if you, what I would recommend is Popcorn Planet just did a charity stream here recently. They actually had Dog the Bounty Hunter on there, and Dog really gave some good things to think about. He brought up a good point, which is when the search teams were out in the reserve, they were combing through that reserve with like every day. We and a lot of people were saying, why are they wasting their time out there? Why are they're wasting resources? That's just a red herring. Well, with that being said, they were out there every single day. They had cadaver dogs and all this stuff. And one thing that Doc brought up is that some people say like, oh, well, if Brian Laundrie was underwater, the dogs wouldn't have smelled them, or, the cadaver dogs. But even Doc said when you first pass away, even if you're in water, if he walked out into the marsh when there was water there and shot himself and then collapsed in the water, when you first die in the water, you sink, but then your body blows up. It expands to the point where it actually blows up, and there's oils and toxins and death liquids released to the surface, and these dogs can smell that. This is also a place called Buzzard Alley, where even when a rabbit dies, buzzards circle all around, and none of that was spotted during that whole time when Brian Laundrie was supposedly out there rotting away or as a corpse or whatever. Even if the hogs are out there, again, the buzzards would have been flying around. There would have been a lot more indication, even if he had passed away in the water. So those are some really good points to think about. The fact also, too, that they didn't do a full dental identification. It was only a partial. That's like getting a partial fingerprint and saying, well, it's a partial fingerprint, so we think it's most likely Brian Laundrie because his remains were near the backpack, which the parents found the very first day it was open to the public after this month of like law enforcement searching. So again, very odd circumstances. It's not a coincidence. He was Robert Durst's lawyer. He also represented another celeb client. Yeah. Again, just this case has really captured people. Just because of the way it's unfolding, the way it just continues to have this oddness to it. The police department saying that they knew exactly where Brian Laundrie was, but then we find out that they were saying that during the time when he was gone and he had already eluded them. So that was weird. We don't normally hear that also. Normally when law enforcement says these things, it usually turns out to be pretty accurate. So that took a weird turn. The way the parents are acting and the way that they're not concerned or not showing concern for their kid, even though their kid potentially murdered Gabby Petito. So again, just so odd with everything, how it's all been unfolding. It's really captured a lot of people and really captured our attention. So I've tried not to do a whole lot about it. I didn't want people to think that I was just, trying to cash in or something. Again, we're not monetized. I'm not trying to make any money off this. In fact, you don't even have to subscribe if you don't want to. I'd like you to stick around if you like this kind of stuff. That's great. I just wanted to contribute something that we can do. Like I said earlier, Dog the Bounty Hunter has skills. He tracks people down. That's what he does. He has resources. He was out there trying to find Brian. I don't have that. I don't have that ability to leave my house and drive to Florida and camp out and do all this stuff. I just can't do it. So therefore, the only thing I can do is what I know how to do, which is paranormal. So tonight we did a session, and who knows, maybe we'll do some more sessions. If you guys really liked this session, if you want more dowsing rod sessions, maybe we can try to reach out again soon. You don't like, normally we do this every Thursday. We do a live show, but maybe we can go live a few more times in between my jobs, and maybe we can try to reach out then. If you guys want, so let me know. Click like, let me know in the comments if you want to see another one of these, and we'll do more sessions if you want. So it's weird. Let's see, Kirk says, it's weird. No one had heard of them before they upload their one and only video. They are then on body cams, and there are only social media witnesses. Yeah, I mean, you could really go conspiratorial with it. I'm trying to avoid falling down that rabbit hole. I've looked down it. I'm trying not to jump in the rabbit hole. You know what I mean? If you follow me, it is odd. Again, it is odd. Could this be? I don't even know if we could say that this could be some kind of ultimate test in reality TV. Like, is this all just one big fake or something? I don't know. I mean, the pain that the Petitos were showing when you see them and the way they talk, that looks pretty authentic. It looks pretty authentic. So I'm not sure, but yeah, there's a lot of symbolisms in their videos, and that's true. There's a lot of little weird clues too. Also, besides the symbolism, even like the books he read, things like that. There's definitely clues that he had a darker side. That's for sure. I'm not sure if that it's a lot of staged stuff, but I do think it's possible. The guy had probably more time than usual to prepare. A lot of times, just like with Chris Watts, he really didn't have time to prepare much. He disposed of the bodies. I hate even talking like that, but he disposed of things and he went to work, and before he could even get off work, Shanann's best friend Nicole was already concerned, was already like trying to call the police or calling the police. Like, that case already was breaking open before he could even get back home and do more preparation. Brian Laundrie had pretty much from the moment he left, so let's just say September 1st when he got back, all the way up to say the 13th, when supposedly that's when he was, seen last or confirmed to be seen last, was around the 13th. So he pretty much had almost 2 full weeks to start figuring out what he wanted to do. And if you really think about it, that's a hell of a lot of time. He had to drive back 30+ hour trip, and he had almost 2 weeks to decide if he even wanted to kill himself. But yet, then all of a sudden, he decided on the 13th to go out there and kill himself. I mean, that could be the case. Maybe that is. Maybe eventually there was just too much remorse. I don't even want to say remorse. I think, if anything, he was more upset about him screwing up his life than the remorse for killing Gabby, allegedly killing her. But because whoever killed Gabby, remember, they strangled her. It's not a crime of passion. I mean, strangling is 3 to 5 minutes. That's a long time. That's a long time to. You can change your mind very quickly in that time, especially when you're hurting somebody. That's insane to me. So, obviously, strangulation is very personal, very, very sick, in my opinion. So you really can't even say it was any kind of crime of passion. The guy knew what he was doing. He fled, and he had a lot of time to decide whether he wanted to kill himself or not. And with the lawyer giving them the advice to be quiet and all this stuff, you would think he'd flee and just take his chances, and that's what a lot of people think he did. But now they're trying to say that he killed himself. So, and according to the spirits tonight, he did kill himself, but he made it to the Appalachian Trail somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what to believe, but we can do another session. Maybe let's see, what is it? Tomorrow. Tomorrow's what? Friday. I'm not sure what we got going on, but maybe one of these upcoming nights here, maybe tomorrow, the next night. Again, since I really haven't been able to do a whole lot publicly because of that last little bit of 1% of health I'm trying to recover. I want to be fully healthy before I start booking investigations and shows, and I do like book signing events and things like that. So I don't really want to do that. My Halloween has really sucked this year because of when I got sick. So I really just kind of isolated myself, and that really sucks. It's like my busy time, right? And when I normally get to go out, do like live, I think last year we did like some live feeds from a haunted house. We did, the book signing stuff. I don't know. We did things, either last year or the year before. We got to go out and do things for Halloween. This year, it's like nothing. So next time Ask the Video was actually taken on a trip this summer. Oh, so you're saying was it even okay? So that's even more conspiratorial. But yes, we can always ask those questions. I don't mind asking some of the questions that are sometimes more conspiratorial related, like that. Like, was the video actually taken on a trip this summer? Like, I get what you're asking. So I don't mind asking some of that stuff to the spirits. He said, I just have to kind of word it in a yes or no fashion. Could we do a spirit box session? Yes, but a lot of people are doing those, and I don't feel like those are as accurate. With the dowsing rods, I hold them pretty still, and I let the spirits say what they say. They're either going to cross the rods or push them apart. Again, you guys can kind of go back and see for yourself. I try to hold my hands as still as possible, and the rods pretty much do their thing. Let's see. Same one, but slowed down. Yeah, Kirks, did you see the video when their van door was closing? Oh yeah. I mean, that video taken from the one folks. My wife just told me their name again. She reminded me of their name, and I already forgot again. Anyways, but yeah, some other family that was doing the van life, they were pulling up to the van right there, and you can clearly see now, for whatever people that say that the van door wasn't closing, that's BS. I mean, first of all, you can see, when they zoom in, just because there's that little water droplet there, but there's no tree. You can, we drove by that. You can debunk there's no tree. As that van approached Gabby's van, you can see the door, and it almost looks like somebody was stepping into it and shut the door. Most likely that's what the case was, because even as they drive by, when they slow it down, you can see there's a pair of sandals on the ground right there. So it's possible that Brian was coming back. Who knows? Again, I don't know where it really fit into the murder part of things or that part of the timeline, but obviously it was really close to, that's where her body was found, out past that creek there. There was that little bridge right there. So clearly that's that last place. That's the last place where the van was, and then he left from there and left Gabby at whatever point, whether she was still alive when that van drove by, and maybe she was inside there. Maybe they were getting ready to go out there. Maybe he had already done the deed and he was, getting ready to leave. Who knows? The buffoons lied too in their interviews. The dad was in the bus and the woman was in a Jeep traveling behind. So how did they have the conversation about the Florida plates and going to stop? Well, again, I mean, I'm just talking about the video itself. I'm not really getting into, people's conversations on that, which, that's all valid points. It really is. I'm just trying to look at what we can look for our own eyes, not taking anybody else's words for things, but the things that we see for ourselves. When you watch that video, no matter what was going on in these people's lives, that dash cam showed that door was shutting, and it was their van. We confirmed it was their van. We know it was their van. We know she was found out there. Supposedly that's where her body was found. So again, as far as real deep conspiracy stuff, again, that's going to be a tough road for me right now. I'm just trying to stay as much as I can in the middle of things, but I'm also trying to be realistic. Like, what is the realistic side of things? And the realistic side of things is he, again, probably killed her. Most likely, again, allegedly, whatever you want to say. And he drove all the way back. And, from that point forward, let me tell you what I believe. If the remains are his and he killed himself or whatever, here's what I believe. I think he went back, got back on the first, whatever. And from that point, you could look at, there's a couple possible things that he's going to be, there's a couple of things that that he probably could have told his parents, right? His family or whoever, even the lawyer. He probably even lied to the lawyer. He may not even have told the lawyer the real truth, despite of, because he was a family friend. So I think it meant more to Brian to basically lie. So I don't think that you can look at, let me kind of cover the three couple major truths, and maybe there's four. But one is he came back and he did, some people say that he came back and maybe he just lied to his parents and said that he had a breakup with Gabby or whatever, and she left him and just left him in Wyoming, and he had the van and she just up and disappeared. Some people say that. Then, some people say that his parents know that he killed, he told his parents and told the lawyer, hey, I killed her, blah, 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 all the stuff. There is that possibility. I actually think that the truth lies in the middle. I actually think that he came back. I think he did lie to his lawyer. I think he did lie to his parents. And I think he told them that he probably, if you really look at his history, if you look at the body cam footage, right? He knows how to talk to cops. He plays the victim. He has that way about him. So taking that context clues and applying them to the same situation, but this time with his family, where the stakes are even higher, believe it or not, he's going to tell his family he's going to be the victim. He's probably going to embellish some story that him and Gabby got into a fight, and that in defense, maybe he told his parents that he subdued her and either choked her out, or maybe she fell, hit her head. But either way, however the circumstances are, he probably told his parents that he left her unconscious and that he left her in fear of his life, or, and just in fear in general. So he left her unconscious out in the wilderness in their campsite, and he left and got away from her. That probably something what I would see plausible for him saying to his parents. The reason why is because he's leaving that loophole. He's leaving it open for the fact that she could end up dead. That all of a sudden the police could come knocking and say, we found her body out in the wilderness, blah, blah, blah. There's still that plausible deniability where he can still lie, or he can still, look like a victim in his parents and to the police by saying, well, I left her there. We got into an argument. She was unconscious, whatever. And I left her there. There is that possible defense that he was already prepping. So I think, if anything, that's why he lied to the lawyer and the parents and said, also, because that type of lie, the lawyer, probably on bad lawyering advice, said, okay, well, if she shows up, again, nobody talk, nobody say anything, do not answer the phone for the Petitos, do not do anything, because if she shows up, she could sue you, whatever, blah, 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 that she could try to press charges. Or if she does end up where somebody finds her dead, if she did, succumb to the wilderness or whatever, then we'll just see what happens from there, and we'll just, try to get through what we can, and we'll just take it from there. So he probably gave him that type of advice based on that type of lie. So that would also make sense why they just went on a complete lockdown and wouldn't say anything to the Petitos or anything else, but yet at the same time not fully know if she passed away or not. I don't think he told his parents that he strangled her. I just don't see that. Again, I can see him lying more, just like we see in the police body cam, him playing the victim and then trying to, use that lie to make him still look like he could be a good kind of person in his parents' eyes, but yet still leave the possibility that she could end up dead somehow. So that's where he would admit his fault. Like, hey, I know I shouldn't have left her. That's bad of me. I'm hoping that, whatever. But at this point, the damage is already done. The lawyer already told the family. They had these family meetings. That's what I'm suspecting. And then, of course, you could go through the timeline. And then if it's true, if Brian did take his car out there, see, here's the big thing. Let's assume that, again, taking away the spirit session that we had, let's say Brian did take the Mustang out to the reserve, right? So, okay, let's go. Actually, let's break this down real quick. So according to the lawyer, the family lawyer, on the 13th, okay, that morning, supposedly he talked to Brian Laundrie and he talked to the family. Okay, keep this in mind. The 13th, the morning of the 13th. Then that afternoon, it had to be afternoon, I guess, or even late morning, after the lawyer talked to him, Brian supposedly tells his family, hey, I'm going to go for a hike or whatever. So he goes and takes the Mustang to the reserve. According to the lawyer, he tells the FBI that night in casual conversation. Now, he said he didn't officially, like he wasn't worried about it, but he said, oh, by the way, Brian didn't return. So let's just think about this in reality. Who do you know that goes out for a hike in let's say just after the middle of the day, and then somebody's concerned about you not returning that 4 or 5 hours later, maybe? That's weird. Why would the lawyer even say that in casual conversation to the FBI? Like, why would you even think he didn't return yet? It's still the same day. It's still the same day. And you admit it, sir. And I'm talking to the lawyer now. Sorry. I'm getting a little heated now. But the lawyer said that they weren't worried about it because Brian does this stuff. He goes camping and hiking and all these things. So if you're not worried about it, what the hell? Now you're telling me that you talked to him in the morning, he went on a hike in the middle of the day, and then by a few 4 or 5 hours of the day later, you're telling the FBI he didn't return back from hiking. That doesn't make sense, folks. That is what I'm saying. Realistically, that does not make sense. Now, the lawyer said he also was saying on that interview with Ashley that he said that he thought he might have said it Tuesday morning, but that the FBI agent said, no, it was Monday night. Well, I think everybody's screwing up here. So I think, one, the FBI agent, that doesn't make sense to me. Again, it doesn't make sense to me that the lawyer would have said something Monday evening. Brian went for a hike a few hours before that, obviously, or even 5 or 6 hours before that, but it still was in the same day. Now, I could see where the next morning, Tuesday morning, I could see where maybe the lawyer might have, what I could see realistically is the family might have, because apparently they were having regular conversations. So it's possible that the lawyer called up the Laundries and they said, hey, is Brian around? Whatever. And they're like, no, he never came home last night from his hike. Then he ended up talking to the FBI during their regular conversations because the case was just getting started. Remember the Petito, the Gabby case. So then I could see where he might have said something to the FBI Tuesday morning, maybe. I could see that realistically, that he could say, Brian never came back from his hike, but, do you blame him? The media and all this stuff. I can see that being in a conversation the next day. I can see that. So now keep this in mind. They supposedly, the parents go out that day, Tuesday, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but according to the lawyer, Tuesday, the family goes out to the reserve and they find his car. Okay? So they find his car. After one night of him doing these hiking adventures or whatever, apparently they went out, they hiked into the reserve a little bit, maybe called out his name, who knows, whatever, and he never responded, so they went home. The next day, they go out and they get the Mustang. So, and they don't report him. Remember, because the lawyer said that, what was it, like Thursday is when the FBI called him and said, we have a lead that he's in Tampa. And the lawyer's like, oh, really? That's cool because I haven't talked to him and, he never came back from hiking, whatever. I don't know. So they went ahead and officially filed the paperwork for him missing like on Friday. So, but these things don't make sense if you just break them down on a realistic basis. Again, that whole Monday thing. When you just talk it out, it's like, that doesn't make sense. If he talked to Brian that morning, then how would you tell the FBI that he never came back from his hike that evening? I mean, that's stupid. I wouldn't even do that. Like, even if my son was potential suspect in a case, I wouldn't report him missing until the next day. And then I'd be actually reporting him to the authorities saying he never came back. He's under a lot of stress. This obviously is a big thing now. The FBI is knocking on our door. He never came home last night. Help. We're concerned about our son. But that never happened. They took his car. They even the lawyer admitted that the family wasn't worried because he's been known to do these type of things, to leave and be gone for a while, to camp. So if that's the case, why did you take his car on Wednesday? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that let's assume that the remains are Brian Laundrie's. Let's just assume it. Let's say he killed himself. Let's say he went out there Monday, killed himself. Okay. The next day, I'm going to say realistically, like I told you, the conversations happened. The lawyer called the family. The family's like, oh, by the way, yeah, Brian's not here. He's never came back. And then he probably said, you might want to go check on him. They probably said, yeah, you're right. So they went out to the reserve on Tuesday. Meanwhile, before all that, again, after he talked to the family, the lawyer casually mentioned it to the FBI. Why? It's a little bit of cover your ass, right? A little bit of CYA. So he mentions it to him just casually, like, yeah, I mean, he never came back from his hike last night. Do you blame him with all this media? Anyways, well, at least I said it on record. So meanwhile, the family goes out. They search. I think, this is just me, if Brian killed himself, I think that the family found the body. I don't think the parents may have went up to the body. I don't think it's possible that they saw the body from a little bit of a distance. I don't think they, you know what I mean? I don't think as parents they wanted to truly walk up, touch the body, confirm it, and whatever. I think they kind of knew. And from that, they kind of panicked. They left. They were like, they don't want to be near the crime scene. Like they didn't want to go closer to the body into the crime scene. So I think they left. And of course, I don't think they called their lawyer. I don't. I think that, again, the lawyer was very adamant before all of this to not say anything at all to the authorities. I think they went home. I think their first initial reaction was to grieve because they lost their son. I think they realized, man, we lost our son. He killed himself, whatever. So I think that Tuesday night they grieved. I think the next day they went out and got the Mustang. I think they panicked a little. I think they went out, got the Mustang. And I honestly think at that point, with their silence, which was already instructed by the lawyer, again, I don't think they told the lawyer from that point forward. I think they kept that fact that they saw the body and they kept it for themselves. They didn't say anything. And I think they were secretly hoping that the search parties after Friday would go out there and find the body for them. I don't think they wanted to say anything. I think they just wanted things to play its course. And after a month, when it didn't play out and they didn't find the corpse for whatever reason, I know Dog was talking about buzzards and things, and that's very plausible. Again, I don't want to knock that at all. But let's just say that for whatever reason, nature just was a little different, and he wasn't found, obviously. And so the minute that the park opened, I think, again, there's the theory that they could have struck a deal and said, look, we know where his body is. We'll take you there. But they probably, because they struck the deal, they probably wanted to make it look like it was recorded. They had a photographer out there, whatever, you know what I mean? They did their little show. They went out and they probably led the law enforcement to the area where they had originally known. And that's why the Laundries were able to go right to the body as soon as the first day that they could. And they were able to strike the deal or whatever. Maybe they didn't strike a deal and they just wanted to act like they found the body. And they're just like, well, we wanted to go look and look at this, it's over here. But that would, to me, that theory, that timeline, to me would explain if they had seen the body on Tuesday and not say anything, they went home and then went back and got the Mustang the next day. To me, that would kind of explain why they were acting the way they were or why they took the Mustang. Because why would you take your kid's car less than 48 hours from when he went hiking or 48 hours from when he went hiking? That's not a lot of time. Why would you take the vehicle? Why would you take the vehicle if you thought he may need it? If he is camping, if you thought he was alive, even if you thought he was on the run, why would you take his vehicle? Did you have your spare keys you to the Mustang and you went out there and got it? Was the keys in the Mustang? I mean, did Brian ever even have the keys to the Mustang? I mean, I don't know anymore. But I'm just saying that, to me, the parents taking the Mustang, that action says a lot to me, right? And it should say a lot to you too. Because again, why would you do that? I would never do that to my child. If I knew he possibly could be alive at all, if there's any hope, as a parent, you always hold out hope, right? The Petitos held out hope that Gabby was alive. I mean, Brian, if they thought for a second that Brian could be alive, why would you take that Mustang? Why? Unless one of two reasons. One, you knew he was dead, you knew he wasn't coming back. Or two, that maybe you thought by taking the Mustang, you thought, well, he started to flee, so maybe you're trying to hide his starting point. But to me, when you go back out the very first day that the gates are back open and you find his bag and his apparently body and whatnot, his remains, that speaks loudly again to me too. So that tells me that you decided to go ahead and sort of kind of confess without confessing. It's like your way of like, oh, I found this over here. I didn't know anything about it. Never saw it before, a few weeks ago or whatever, a month ago, whatever it's been now. So ICU says mother intuition. That part did seem staged when they found the bags. Well, again, the bags could have been there. The family could have seen them this whole time, or they could have seen them before. But again, what I'm saying is that they may have seen it on Tuesday, went home and grieved, went back, got the Mustang, didn't know what to do, couldn't talk to their lawyer. They just remained silent. And then when Thursday and Friday played out, the lawyer probably called and said, hey, there was a lead that Brian was in Tampa, blah, blah, blah. And the family said, okay, let's just file a missing persons report, even though that they may have already knew he was dead. But again, for them, they kind of already committed to something. And so once you commit to that, they just had to play it out. And they were probably just hoping that the authorities would go and find his body. And they didn't. So they had to finally take matters in their own hands almost a month later and show them where the body is, basically. So that's my opinion. Again, these are all just my opinions. Don't sue me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, this is a very tough and weird case. Terry Lynn did say there was a special place in hell for that one. And Kirk did say I'm not being conspiratorial. I'm just looking at the evidence. Yeah, and I'm not saying that you are necessarily being conspiratorial. It's just, again, it's there's certain aspects of this case. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get it where there could be some things, and again, I don't want to go too far off that. I want to just sort of look at what could be the potential real timeline of things. Now, again, we may have evidence that may come out here after the fact. I'm sure in another month or so, things will finally come out. Things will surface. Eventually, the dust will settle, and I think we'll look back on and we'll see some things that are the truth. Then there may be some things we may never know the truth. Unfortunately, if Brian is deceased, he may have taken the truth with him. And we may never know. So right. Yeah, Terry Lynn reminded me about the lawyer. But yeah, I did say the special place in hell. So that you said. So here, look. I'll put your comment right up on there. But yeah, and as far as motherly intuition, that is something that we may look back on this. The truth could be that, again, the family, he could have lied to the family. Like I told you, it's not a breakup lie. He didn't come back and lie to the family and say, oh, I broke up with her. We had a bad breakup and blah, blah, blah. Again, I don't think he went that road. He had to have lied to where he could be the victim and still All right. So my wife said that she had a big comment about the lawyer, but see, I'm not seeing it on my chat, so I don't know. So don't get mad at me, honey. I'm looking back. I don't see. I don't see anything all the way back to where we're talking about the spirit. So it's possible your comment never came through on my end. So, honey, I'm sorry if you said that something about the lawyer. You might want to try to copy it and repost it, honey. That lawyer has hung himself so many times with his comments. He is so full of shit in himself. Yeah, that comment is not on here. It's not in my chat, honey. But yeah, so my wife said, and I'm just going to read it again just in case. She might try to repost. Try to repost it if you can. But she said that lawyer has hung himself so many times with his comments. He is so full of shit and himself. And again, that's what I'm saying. When you start dissecting his comments, that's what I'm saying. I'm just looking at what he's saying about the timeline. And if you go by that, if you go by what he's saying, he is saying that, yes, he definitely talked to Brian Monday morning. He went out for a hike. And then he said that he told the FBI, I'm trying to get this right because even him, he likes to make sure we get it right. He said that he told the FBI that when they were going back and trying to find out when he told them that Brian never returned from his hike, I guess him and the agent agreed. I guess the agent looked in his notes and said, no, or the agent said, no, I remember it was Monday night because you said that you blame him because of the media attention, blah, blah, blah. But the lawyer kept saying he thought it was either Monday night or Tuesday morning. He did keep saying it a few different times, but he kept saying that the FBI agent was the one that kept confirming that it was Monday night, not Tuesday morning. I just said that I think that the FBI guy is full of shit because I think that he didn't refer to his notes or anything. I think he's just going by memory, but I think it was Tuesday morning. It just, because realistically, it just does not make sense for anyone to say that, like, if somebody goes out for a hike earlier that day, for them to say that they didn't return. That's dumb. He could have been talking to the FBI agent and Brian still could have been out camping or eating dinner or went for a drive somewhere or whatever. They never even, supposedly, the parents had even gone out that Monday to see if his Mustang was still in the reserve. So how did they know that he wasn't out going for a drive after the hike, or that he was out riding around town, or going to somewhere for dinner, or going to a friend's house, or whatever? I mean, again, there's no more speculation. It was just, supposedly, he said to the FBI agent that night, hey, he never returned home from his, hike. Do you blame him? The media, blah, blah. That's so dumb. That does not make sense. Nobody would say that. Like I said, the next day, Tuesday morning, when the lawyer called the family, I'm just speculating that, again, the lawyer probably called the family. He probably wanted to talk to Brian. Remember, the case was still really had broke open. And so he probably called that morning to talk to Brian. The parents told, their lawyer / friend, hey, he has not returned. He didn't come home last night. And that's when the lawyer probably told the parents, hey, go out to the reserve, see if he's still out there. Go check on him. And then he ended up talking to the FBI and then casually making that. That's how I would realistically see that process. Not the bullshit way of him trying to say, it's almost like the lawyer was so worried about people saying, well, why didn't you say something sooner? And him trying to say, well, the FBI agent confirmed it that was Monday evening. I told the agent Monday evening. No, that doesn't make sense. That even sounds more stupid. I would actually have more respect for him if he had said that following morning when Brian didn't return, that's when I had mentioned something to the FBI. See, that makes sense. Not that evening. That sounds stupid. You talk to the dude in the morning, he went for a hike, and then you're going to tell the FBI that evening he never returned from a hike? You don't know that, do you? Supposedly you don't. So that's what I'm saying. Shit's weird. It's not right. There's something wrong about that moment. I don't care if the FBI agent says that. I don't care if the FBI says, it was Monday evening when the lawyer mentioned to me he never came back from his hike. That I don't care if they said that. That just is stupid to me. It's stupid that anybody would even mention that if you went out for a hike just a few hours before that or whatever. That's dumb. So I don't get none of that. I don't understand that. Something weird. And I know I keep going back to that, but that's because this is what the lawyer officially was talking about with timelines, and he was very adamant about it. So I'm gonna hold him accountable to that. I'm gonna hold him accountable to that timeline and say, if this is what you're saying officially, since you can't say anything else, God forbid, everything's always protected under confidentiality, right? Supposedly, even if you have cross clients or whatever, which Ashley called them out on. But so even if you're maintaining, your client privilege, what you are telling me doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You're trying to make it sound like it makes sense, but it doesn't really make sense in the realistic world. That's why I keep bringing up Monday, because that's where he really, in my opinion, screwed up. By saying that the FBI confirmed he said something that night. So you talked to your client that morning, he went for a hike, and then you're already ratting him out to the FBI saying he never returned from his hike. How do you know? The parents nobody confirmed that his Mustang was still at the reserve until Tuesday. So nobody knew where he was really at. So how do you even know he was at a hike to not return to? He could have been, he never came home from going out to dinner or whatever. It's stupid to me. Monday the 13th is when the lawyer, in my opinion, is screwing up, and he's trying to stick to his guns about. And then, of course, he can always backpedal and say, oh, well, I did say Tuesday morning. Well, pick one, because to me, if you say Tuesday morning and you say, you know what, the FBI agent was wrong, I went back, I looked at my notes, my timeline, and Tuesday morning, well, nobody's going to believe you anymore anyways. All the family, everybody keeps backtracking and screwing things up. But I'm just saying, if you just come forward and you're just being straightforward saying, yeah, Tuesday morning after I talked to the family and we realized he didn't come home last night, then we were getting concerned, and I mentioned to the FBI casually, and that's it. Like, I would have more respect for that, because that seems realistically, that's something that, probably most lawyers would do, just because the client never came back that evening. But to say something that evening, the same day of the hike, doesn't make sense with me. That to me, that's bullshit. I don't see you guys chatting too much more. Maybe you're just listening to me rant. I hope you guys think you can see where my logic is on this. I hope you can see where the logic is on this. If, again, assuming that he did go out the 13th, assuming he did go kill himself that day, and again, my theory of the parents going out there Tuesday and checking on him, finding his body, going home, grieving, going back, getting the car. And at that point, once they kind of crossed that line and they brought the car back, I think at that point they kind of found themselves going, well, shit, we kind of screwed up. We probably didn't think this fully through. We were grieving. Now we have the car at home, the FBI, all this stuff. We can't really tell the lawyer that we saw him dead. We're kind of a little too deep in this now. So I think they just kind of, again, continued to stay silent, and things started playing out from there. So Terry said, look at the photo I text you. Let's look at the photo that she texted. I will. And then she said a lot of people are saying it's actually Brian. So this is the picture of supposedly, maybe you guys can see it. I think it's the picture of, if I'm not mistaken, Supposedly, this is a picture of Brian's mom she was wearing like all dark, like a funeral, like dressed for a funeral, before any of this. Like she, like almost like before any of this was even found out, but like in a costume. And so, but some people are speculating that it's Brian Laundrie. So I don't know. I would suspect, though, honestly, that the guy had 13, at least up to 13 days. And we do know that he was spotted. There was like the burner phone thing. So that raises the other flag of why are you buying burner phones, especially if you're that close to possibly, killing yourself, things like that. Um, And if he did have another burner phone, they said he left one at the house. You can buy 3 or 4 of them and leave one at the house, and people can say, "Oh, he left a cell phone." Or you can leave your real cell phone and take some more burner phones. Leave another burner phone. Leave your cell phone and a burner phone, and then have another burner phone on the road. It doesn't matter. Burner phones are burner phones, right? You can leave something behind, and people can say, "Oh, well, he left his phone behind." So so this is right after they found, right after they found the remains, she was wearing that. So right, that's what I'm saying though. But I don't think it was Brian because I think he's already long gone at that point. I don't think Brian's near that house. I don't. If he's alive, I've been talking about the theory of if that is his remains and what I think that the timeline is based on the lawyer, based on what everything was saying. Even though it doesn't make sense that the people reacted, it would only make sense the way that the Laundries reacted would only make sense to me if they had already found him dead on Tuesday, because again, that would also explain how they knew where the body was. It would also explain why they took the Mustang. It would also explain why, and Dog brought this up, why they didn't react more to the knowledge that their son was dead. So, because again, if they already knew this back on, the 14th, then they had time to grieve. So at this point, it was just a crocodile tear and a pat on the back. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. To me, the only way that these actions, that's why I think my theory seems to make the most sense, because it does seem to explain all of these actions, but the best possible explanation. Now, as far as let's look at the other side real quick. We're almost going on 2 hours tonight. So let's look at the other side, which is, let's say he's alive and that those aren't his remains. Let's say that they come back with a DNA mismatch and they say, now, again, I want to address this real quick. For those people out there that say that the anthropologist or that the police are going to cover up Brian's death or false remains. Again, Dog the Bounty Hunter did bring up a good point on this. He said that, look, there's not many police officers that are going to stake their career on someone like Brian Laundrie. And by that, he's saying that, and he explained it. He said that, let's just say that they rushed this case to get it done. Maybe they were embarrassed by it, whatever the case is. So they were like, yep, that's his remains. See ya, case closed, whatever. Let's just wrap this up. Well, let's say Brian Laundrie surfaces a couple of years from now, 5 years from now, a year from now, 2 weeks from now, whatever. Let's just say he screws up. Somebody finds him, some guy out in the woods hunting, comes across him, tackles him, citizen arrest, whatever. Let's say they find Brian Laundrie. Well, the police that confirmed his remains, they're all fired. Like the dog, even the dog said, they're all going to be fired working at McDonald's. I mean, they're never going to work again. Their retirements are gone. Everything they've done, 8 years of college, whatever college, schooling, training, everything they've done is all gone. So just think of that. Would these people put their self on the line for that? Or are they going to confirm for sure that it is definitely Brian Laundrie? And if they feel like it is a confirmation, So I feel like if they can extract DNA from these remains and they can confirm, but let's say they confirm and they say, you know what, we did DNA and guess what? It's not Brian Laundrie. Well, that means the hunt is on, of course, and Brian Laundrie still could be alive. Is Brian Laundrie the one that's in that picture at the laundry house wearing that dress, whatever? No, I don't think so. I don't. Again, I don't think he's anywhere near that house. Now, there's theories for those of you that haven't seen the garden theory, where there's like the garden bunker. A woman and a man in Florida, they did it. They built it. They built one. It is feasible. It can be done. Do I think Brian is doing it? No, not necessarily. I don't think he's probably in a flower bed bunker, so to speak. I don't think he's near that place. Again, most people think that he went to the Appalachian Trail, and that would make sense. I know some people might say, well, that could be too obvious. He might not go there because it's too obvious, but that's not true. If you're in trouble, if you're going to run from the law, you're going to go to the places you're familiar with, because again, that way you know where to go. If he spent some months surviving in the Appalachians, guess what, folks? He's probably going to try to make his way there because he's probably comfortable. He's comfortable with that environment. Let me ask you, would you want to sleep and spend your nights camping in a swampy area like Florida, or are you going to spend it in a mountainous area like the Appalachians? I guarantee you're probably not going to want to sleep in the swamps or the woods of Florida that much. Again, people do it. You can do it. But if you have a choice, like Brian Laundrie possibly, you're going to probably try to make your way to the Appalachians. He's done it before. He's comfortable with that environment. He's proved to himself he can stay out there. So it is very plausible that he did go to there. If, again, this is assuming that he's not dead. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed this show with the dowsing rod session. Again, we're going to start wrapping this up. We're almost to the 2-hour mark. It's been a great show. I really appreciate you guys really chiming in. Terry Lane, I See You See Me, Kirks, everybody that had comments and questions. You guys have been so awesome. And for those of you that watch, again, thank you so much for your support. We really do want to see justice for Gabby. We really want to. Hopefully, the social media, these sessions like this, hopefully can bring some enlightenment to the case, to maybe people that aren't real familiar with it. But if you have to, go back, watch this. Guys, this is a domestic violence case. Domestic violence is real. Many, many people have gone through it. It's very unfortunate. Domestic violence is a situation when you have two people that have to live together and you get some of these combination of personalities. You get a lot of bad people, and a lot of bad things can happen. And this certainly is another domestic violence case. I don't blame necessarily anybody specifically other than Brian Laundrie for this case. Ultimately, he's the one that chose to do these chose to do these things. Some people can blame the police department, when they pulled over Gabby and Brian, but chances are, no matter what would have happened at that point, I think the same fate would have eventually happened to Gabby, because clearly she was still trying to cover for him a little bit. I think that even if they had made an arrest or counseled her more, things like that, I'm not sure. Again, I think she probably wasn't ready. And for some women that have been in that situation, they've you know, they can tell you that there's sometimes you're just not ready to come out of that relationship yet. As volatile as it may be, as abusive as, sometimes you're just in that relationship and you're kind of committed. You keep thinking maybe some things will change, like, oh, maybe this will make things better, or maybe if I act like this, or if this happens, maybe things will get better. And I don't think Gabby was in that. I don't think she was in that position yet. They were getting ready to get married. I think she thought that there probably was some things they had to work out. She probably took some of that her OCD, like you hear her talk about. So, but the point is, it's a very sad situation. It's a domestic violence situation. Taylor said police really failed Gabby all the way around before and after death. And again, I'm not saying that they didn't fail at that, but I think that even if the police had been trained, or let's say there was a counselor, again, I'm not sure if that relationship would have dissolved at that point. I don't think that I don't know if that would have been a breakup point. I think she probably still would have gotten back together with him at some point here, and I think he would have still done what he did. Unfortunately, it's just it really is sad. Now, maybe I don't know. Nobody can. It's again like Gabby's father said, it's a rabbit hole he doesn't want to go down. The what ifs, but the fact is, it's domestic violence case turned into a homicide. It's another unfortunate statistic, one of too many in this country, and I really hope that people can learn from this. Love your spouse. Love your spouse, and if you feel like you're at that point where you want to cause harm to your spouse, you can't get to that point. If you get to that point where you want to harm your spouse, you need to seek help. You need to seek help, period. I don't care how macho you think you are, or even females, don't hurt the person that you love. Bottom line, please spread that message of love and positivity. Gabby Petito has a foundation. The parents have a foundation. They want to honor her memory. Please go and donate to them. Help raise more money for them. It's not just for them specifically, but it's for that domestic violence abuse for victims. So go help out that foundation. I know Popcorn Planet just did that. I'm just doing a shout out to them, for Andy Signor and those over there. Again, Popcorn Planet. They did a fundraiser recently as well. But these are things that you can do to donate and help people. I know we're donating as well. But just to raise that awareness, folks. So I wanted to end on a positive note of just raising awareness. And folks, if you guys like what you've seen this video, I know it's a long video. I commend those that made it through this whole 2 hours if you stuck around. But we do this every Thursday. Also, we do other videos in between. Guys, if you want more dowsing rod sessions, I would like to try to reach out again, possibly to find out some other answers. Maybe we can talk to another spirit that might be able to give us either some confirmation, similar responses, or different responses, or maybe we can reach out to Gabby or something. So, folks, I appreciate you guys so much. Remember, seek the truth. We'll see you next week or in the next video.